The Westboro Baptist Church has become infamous for protesting the funerals of soldiers. They claim God is killing U.S. troops to punish America for its tolerance of homosexuality. Today, they announced plans to protest the service of Elizabeth Taylor, who was supportive of gay rights and active in the fight against AIDS. With me now to talk about this is Nate Phelps. He is the estranged son and critic of Westboro Church pastor Fred Phelps. He's also an advocate for gay rights. Also with us is Ian Drew, senior editor for Us Weekly. Welcome to the show, guys. Now, let me talk to you, Nate. The daughter of Fred Phelps, who is your sister, right? She tweeted the following.
Yes.
No, rest in peace, Elizabeth Taylor, who spent her life in adultery and enabling proud F-Gs, I won't even say the word. They cuss her in hell today. Westboro will picket funeral. How do you feel about your sister tweeting something like that, Nate?
Just standard fare for them right now. You know, they've been doing this for years, this attitude of total disrespect for the feelings and differences in society.
What is with your father? Is he, why is he so homophobic, do you think? I know that you've been estranged from him for, what, 30 years?
Yeah, over 30 years. That's
okay.
Right.
Do you have any idea what the homophobia is about? Is it that he may be closeted himself? Is that what it's about?
Well, you know, there was never any evidence of that. I just know that from the time we were young that, you know, he perceived from his interpretation of the Bible that homosexuality was like the ultimate sin that you couldn't recover from. So that kind of became his standard for evil in the world.
Well, he became obsessed with it, though. There's a sickness to it. There's an obsessive quality to it that rings of mental illness to me. Well, you know, Ian, what exactly are they lashing out at Elizabeth Taylor about? Tell the audience.
Well, I mean, she has a long history of AIDS activism, of course. I mean, she was a leader. She was the first person to ever say AIDS on TV, and she was always fighting, even when she was in a wheelchair. I remember the last time I actually physically saw her was at an AIDS benefit, and she was on that stage in a wheelchair, could barely speak very well. I mean, you couldn't really tell what she was saying, but she was up there fighting the fight. So she was tireless. I mean, constantly giving money. And, you know, it wasn't even just that. She was always for the underdog. I mean, she was someone who was, whether it be even her friend Michael Jackson or, you know, underprivileged children. I mean, she was always doing something for other people.
Now, just as a point of reference, Supreme Court recently ruled that the Westboro can legally protest on those premises because they're protected by the First Amendment. So, so Nate, is there any way to stop them short of, you know, violence? Which I don't really advocate.
Yeah, I mean,
ever.
Yeah, the law's not going to allow you to stop them. So, you know, the only thing I can think to do is to figure out positive, you know, responses, counter protests, efforts by the community when they come there to do this kind of thing, to make something positive out of this hateful message that they're bringing.
Well, Ian, do you think that somebody suggested today that maybe the gay community should rally and get numbers there and just protest against it? What do you think of that idea?
I mean, I think it's disrespectful to her family to have any of this going on, but I do think she'll have enough security to sort of keep people at bay. Also, I mean, maybe they didn't realize she's Jewish, so she gets buried, you know, quicker. It happens usually 1 or 2 days after.
So they might not even have time to
So they might not have even known it's going on. I mean, a lot of people were shocked that it's today, but she was, you know, very, very much proud of her Jewish faith, and she, you know, since she converted.
I know she did.
Yeah.
But, you know, they threatened, this group threatened to protest Natasha Richardson and Heath Ledger's funerals, but they didn't show up. So do you think they're all talking?
A lot of times they are all talk, like I said, I don't think that they've been able to mobilize to even get to LA quick enough. I'm sure they didn't even know when it was going on. They don't even have the resources to find that out, unless it's a large-scale thing, and even the media didn't know until earlier today that it was going to happen today.
Right, but sometimes maybe they're just BSing everybody with some of this. I mean, tell me something about your father, Nate. Well, tell me something about him when you were growing up.
Well, I mean, where shall I start? He was an extremely violent, self-centered person that found pleasure in the harm that he did to others. I mean, literally expressed pleasure in it. You know, he used to laugh about one of the comments his father made to him when he was a young child, that he seemed to enjoy kicking people in the shin and then watching their reaction. So this is just, you know, the latest iteration. He's been doing this kind of stuff his entire life, you know, to his family, to his children, and you know, to his co-workers. And, you know, this just gave him a bigger platform. He's enjoying, he's having the time of his life.
Well, he's a sadist. But how do you explain your sister's behavior? Is she just brainwashed by this evildoer?
Well, when we grew up there, nobody had a mind of their own. Nobody was allowed to think for themselves. He wasn't accountable to anyone or anything except God, which was, you know, I mean, he was the one deciding what God wanted him to do. So he literally was accountable to no one and didn't allow dissension in the ranks. So this is what you end up with. This isn't at all surprising that you know, 9 of my 12 siblings have ended up parroting him in their adult life.
9 of them are, what did he say, parroting?
Parroting, yeah.
Oh, so they're going along. So the brainwashing took.
It's a family affair.
And what about your mother?
Yeah.
Where is she at?
Well, she's there. She's 85 years old. You know, when in the early years she tried to temper some of his violence and some of his cruelty, but you know, he would just turn it on her, and she just reached a point where, you know, she wasn't willing or able to fight anymore. So, you know, I look at her as being another victim like the kids were. So,
was he ever called on the carpet for domestic abuse? Were the police ever called for something like that? And does he continue to be abusive now to his family?
Well, I don't know that he's got it in him physically anymore to be physically abusive, but you know, that's not all there is to it. You can be very destructive with your words and your ideology and the way you treat people. So, yeah, I'd say he's still abusive. So maybe not physically, though.
He's so concerned that all these homosexuals and other people are going to go to hell. Where do you think he's going to go?
Well, I think, let's face it, it's attention. This is all that the guy wants, and this is what we're giving him. I mean, this is what he wants, is to be able to be talked about. But it
sounds terrible, like a terrible, terrible human being. I mean, Nate, how old is he? Maybe he'll die soon. How old is he?
Well, he's pushing 82. And he's not, you know, he's not looking good lately. So who knows?
We can only hope.
You know, I think that's what we should hope for, is that when that happens, this may mitigate a little bit.
Well, there's no other way out to get away from this guy.
Well, who's going to pick at his funeral if he's dead? So.
Yeah, right. Nobody, because nobody
cares. Exactly.
Including his children when he's gone. It'll be interesting, this case, to see how they react when he's gone. Some of these brainwashed kids.
Yeah.
Let's watch a clip of Elizabeth Taylor talking about why she started her fight against AIDS on Larry King Live. It's interesting.
People sat around at dinner parties discussing it and saying, it's just awful. You know, nobody's doing anything, and the government isn't doing anything, and I just don't know what we're going to do. Here I am, furious. And what am I doing? Nothing. So I moved and co-founded the first AIDS Foundation, AMFAR, in America, in the world.
It's interesting. She was alone in the fight in those days, she says.
Yeah. Like I said, she was the first one. Even the President of the United States wouldn't mention the word.
Right.
And she was leading the charge. So she was really a pioneer. And that's really what we should be doing. Not picketing her funeral, but really remembering her legacy. And that's what she wanted to be remembered for more than anything else. Till the end. You know, for all the tabloid attention she got for everything else in her life, this was what mattered most.
Do you think, Nate, that we should just ignore your father and this Westboro group? Or what? What should we do? Because they really make me angry.
I honestly wish I wish we could, Joy. I really do. But it just doesn't seem like that's a practical solution. So, you know, going back to what I said earlier, I think that we've got to figure out some positive ways. You know, the Patriot Guard riders that show up at some of these funerals and block them, you know, that's a positive response to what's going on. And, you know, just keep looking for those kind of solutions.
He's very hurtful. They're hurtful to the soldiers who have passed or who've died in the service to the country, and the families, and to the gay community. It's just despicable behavior. Anyway, thank you very much, you guys. We'll be back in a minute.
You bet.